I'm happy to talk to you. I know it's a vulnerable conversation to have.
It is. It's funny, isn't it? How it's in one hand, it's such a omnipotent subject that we can find in every single magazine, on every billboard. We're urged to be our slim, sexy, skinny, I don't know, selves. But at the same time, it's such a touchy subject to breach the topic of somebody, for instance, being overweight, or even worse, if we talk about obesity, that gets into a whole other topic of shame, of guilt, and a lot of judgment going in there. And when we started out with Sleep Your Fat Away, at that time we didn't have the title. We were only told by our higher guidance that we needed to create something to help end the obesity epidemic that is hitting this world. So we said, okay, well, that's a big one, but so how do we go about this? And then we literally started studying and training with whoever we could find who had a new approach, who had a holistic approach of how to get a grip on our body image, on the way we deal with food, the way we eat, the way, that whole subject. And it was a fascinating journey to go from yogis to Tibetan monks to dietitians and nutritionists and fitness experts and hypnotists, and really see what can we create, what tidbits, best ofs can we take out of existing programs or existing approaches of, one, naturally slim people. So what do they do different? And then what do our other people out there doing that is actually working, that is not a diet? Because we were absolutely not interested in creating yet another diet and yet another exercise regime, but it had to be something that's more aligned with how we approach life. So we want to really walk our talk and create something that everybody can use, that is really simple, and that works with the body's consciousness, so with our entire being, and helps us become just more powerful and more attuned and more open-hearted people, because that's what our life's mission is about, is making spirituality practical, about making holistic healthcare accessible for millions. That's what we love. So that's how Sleep Your Fat Away was born, with the attempt to create something that will really help millions of people. And the way we decided to approach is by training the brain to help behave like a naturally slim person, because that's what we found when we studied the habits. And as a holistic psychologist that I am, I'm really into and fascinated how our brain works, how we create habits for ourselves, how some of these can be incredibly destructive, but we'll have them for years or even lifetimes. And how can we change that? How can we change what we think maybe is hardwired in our brain? So when you start talking to people who are struggling with weight, the number one answer I was getting from my clients was, well, I just don't have the willpower. I'm just too weak. Or I've always failed at this. I'm going to fail for another 10 years on it. And I had, my personal experiences with the sugar addiction, but also my experiences being the daughter of a wonderful, beautiful mum who's been struggling with her weight ever since I can remember. And with Sleep Your Fat Away, she was able to shift that paradigm. She was for the first time able to lose weight, keep it off, and this will tie back into what you're feeling so strong about, is she says now she feels the most vital she has ever been in her entire life, and she's 67.
Yeah.
So she shed 30 pounds of fat, and she's out there, she's walking, she's happy, she's vibrant, and that just makes everything worthwhile.
Mm-hmm. But you talked about so many things, and
I know, I just threw it all at you.
It's awesome, because those are the thoughts I know we're all having, right? It's like that I don't have the willpower, or I've tried before, or how many times can I put myself through failing when I really want it, but I can't take another failure. Mm-hmm. And I know people have, and they have this perspective about many of the things around their bodies. But this one is prevalent in so many ways. Like,